Okay, starting the next project in the house. So we're gonna take this wing wall, and I'll go all the way up to the ceiling. We're gonna cut it back about 6 inches. So Don's started at the baseboard. And we expect it just to be a standard 2x4 wall. And we're just gonna take 6 inches off the edge. What that's gonna do is allow the refrigerator that's coming in to truly sit back at counter depth. Okay, so that should be good for reuse.
Yeah.
All right. And up we go.
So this saw cuts a very clean line. And it's very controllable. And I want this line to be exact because this drywall will be at the end of the cap that's going on the inside of it when we finish it with a piece of wood going up and down. Either hickory or we might use walnut, depending on the look. So I started to cut this because this is all going away. The two 2x4s that are in here are going to go in here. So I want to save them. So we can't go tearing into it. We have to protect everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not forcing this at all. The saw is doing all the cutting.
Mm-hmm.
So some people might say, you know, use a drywall knife and cut that, and you know, it'll work just the same. But because this is a flat plane, it keeps my line pretty straight. And I want to keep this edge as straight as possible, so that when we fit in the cap, it's nice and clean.
Yep. So the wall's been pretty clear, but Don found one cross beam up there. So there's one 2x4. But he's now at least made it all the way through. I think he's just about through it.
I got through it.
All right.
If I cut the top and cut the bottom, this whole thing will come out in one piece.
All right. So we're taking the house apart. Are you all the way finished with the sawing then? At the
Both sides.
tall pieces? All right.
Yeah. Except up there, I think. Oh, when I cut the top, I'll know if I
Oh, yeah.
cleared it.
Are you going to expose it first, do you think, the drywall?
If I don't have to, I won't. That's
Right.
a lot of mess.
Yeah, that's true.
I can do that outside.
All right. How's it looking?
I'm through half of it.
Okay, now comes the most interesting part. Don has now loosened this entire 6-inch block. He's now going to come down a few inches, trim straight across with the Sawzall. We'll then have a free-floating block, 12 foot long, that will stabilize until Don gets down, and then we'll gradually lower it down, and if all goes well, you'll know in a few minutes. Well, success. We now have a beam in the living room. And here, giving a quick scan up, is the perfectly cut opening. Floor to ceiling. It's all off. Beautiful. Okay, and this is a pretty heavy, it's basically a 12-foot long 4x4, so it's a little bit heavy, but everything went as planned. Well, we are high-fiving. That is so great. Really happy with how relatively easy that went. I know Don was dreading it. So next up, now he just has to put it back together, but he says that's the easy part, so we'll see. Thought I'd come out and take a look at the progress and show off what Don's building. In the meantime, he's raised the over refrigerator cabinet up by 2 or 3 inches to get ready for the fridge. But I wanted to show you this detail. So in order to put the 2x4 in to rebuild this, the wall, he had to set in the 2x4s so that we can have a piece of oak or a hardwood that covers over, so he doesn't have to mess with drywall. So we got that. But these little clever holes, he got a jig that lets him have an inset screw hole, so that when he was able to screw it flush and there's no head exposed. So it's looking good. Oh, here's the, let me step back. Yep, so that's the piece of hardwood, and it'll go up above as well and down to the floor. So, well, I stepped out of the office to find scaffolding, and Don working on this top section up there. He's taken off that last little bit so he has a clean end when we install the hardwood. Now this is an appropriate use of a mask, just for the record. Looks good, honey.
Political commentary.
Maybe a little bit. All right. Quick update on the wing wall here. You can see we've got the first piece of oak stained dark and our first piece of bark. So we're going to run the bark all the way up the wall. It'll be like a tree in here, and we have the oak stained dark that'll also go up. Here's the other piece getting ready to go. Come around one more time and just have to do the patch at the top. So more to come. All right, last video of the wing wall. The refrigerator arrived today, all shiny and new. And you can see we now have a tree in our cabin, which is really cool. So that's it for this project. On to the next.